One thing that I'm truly looking forward to seeing in Star Wars Episode 9 is, of course, not just Kylo Ren, but also the Knights of Ren by writer and director J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, we do know that Episode 9 is going to offer tons of new experiences in this film that are truly going to resonate with fans. We do know that a lot of twists and turns and surprises are on our way that will actually change our perception of The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and even the prequels and originals. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with one of the descriptions describing a sequence for one of the final scenes in the third act of the movie. Specifically, a description for what's being described as a sequence for one of the final scenes of the third act of the film, including Kylo Ren and his Knights of Ren on a speeder, and speeder bikes chasing members of the Resistance on other speeders. It's described as a chase scene that comes before the speeder chase involving Kylo Ren and Rey. Both Poe and Finn are inside of a speeder taking fire by Kylo and his Knights on their bikes. Eventually, Kylo and his Knights disable one of the speeders that Finn and Poe are on that eventually crashes over a cliff. Kylo and the Knights assume that they are dead and that as the speeders zoom past them, Finn is actually holding onto Poe's leg while Poe is hanging onto the edge of a cliff, eventually making their way up and calling for backup. It's described that Kylo is after one of the last remaining abandoned bases that belongs to the Resistance/Rebellion that is quite massive and full of resources to begin something new for the Resistance/New Rebellion. So I really want to go over a couple of parts about this that really do raise my interest for this movie, especially for Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren. Now, like I say, we heard about this a couple of weeks ago, lightly of course, that the Knights of Ren would have their own speeder bikes in Star Wars Episode 9. Now, this seems to be a sequence that will indeed be a part of the third act of this movie, and most definitely connects to the scene that Adam Driver and some extras actually did a scene over at Cardington just a couple of weeks ago, in front of a large green screen where they were on top of some of these speeder bikes. Now, to me, it sounds like that they were going to be like swoop bikes, kind of similar to what we saw in Solo: A Star Wars Story, with, of course, you know, the band of characters in that film that went up against Han and crew. So what I like so much about this is that it seems as so that the Knights of Ren are going to be the modern version of the Cloud Riders. Now, the Cloud Riders were in Solo: A Star Wars Story. They had their own swoop bikes. They were also taken directly from Legends and are actually now made canon. So with the Knights of Ren using these speeders to actually chase both Poe and Finn on their own speeder, engaging in a chase, this is also described as a chase scene before the speeder chase between both Kylo and Rey. So it's quite possible that in between those two chases, the Knights of Ren are going to bite the dust. They're going to be killed off by either the Resistance or Rey or some other kind of event that leads to only Kylo Ren chasing Rey against her speeder, which then eventually leads to that final lightsaber duel between both Rey and Kylo. Again, guys, this sounds like a very interesting sequence for sure between both Kylo, his Knights, Poe, and Finn, and even the backup of the Resistance. And you can really tell right here that JJ and crew are really trying to create a very action-heavy ending sequence in the third act of the film. You know, like I say, we do know that this movie is going to be an all-out war and a war to end all wars. And you can really see that Kylo is very focused on destroying the Resistance once and for all. And that now the Resistance seems as so that they are pretty much, you know, on the back burner. They're pretty much losing at this point, and we don't really know what's going to happen to them. So that's one thing that I really do love about Episode 9 so far, is that it seems like in this movie, the First Order, or whatever new order this is going to be that's being led by Kylo, is going to have the upper hand against the Resistance and even Rey. Something that I think is going to be a little bit different than what we saw in Return of the Jedi, where maybe they can actually do some twists and turns, surprises in there, that'll make it completely different than the ending to that of Return of the Jedi. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.